It's the rest of the SEC presented by Geico here on CBSSports.com. And how about Mississippi State? One win away from bowl eligibility into Kentucky and getting a very, well, Rich Brooks said it, that all systems were a failure. A very poor Kentucky team on this Saturday. 31-14 Bulldogs victory at Commonwealth Stadium. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz alongside CBS Sports' Spencer Tillman and Tim Brando. Glad to be with you here on CBSSports.com. And for a recap of Florida and Georgia, of course, you can watch the SEC highlight show here on CBSSports.com. And guys, Mississippi State, they go into Kentucky, a team that had played LSU, played Florida, played South Carolina in 3 consecutive weeks. Tough football games.
Yeah.
They had lost to Florida. I know you guys don't like there's no gas left in the tank, but 6 second-half turnovers, they were not a good football team today.
No, but you know what? The first half, Mississippi State was just a better football team. Yeah. It wasn't that Kentucky was not mentally I'm not going to buy into any of that, okay? First and foremost, you got to play no matter what time it is. You got to play whether you're in HD or in analog, okay? You got to get it done.
Or on streaming video.
These are the things that Rich Brooks, I'm sure, is trying to tell his team now. This isn't about getting up for one big game. You got to sustain a level of success if you want to play with the big boys in the SEC. And I don't want to diminish at any point the accomplishment of Sly Kroom, because very slowly and steadily he is building the foundation. His job was on the line coming into this season. And now not only has he had some success, but he's gone on the road and won against Auburn and against Kentucky, a good Kentucky team.
And he has this team right now on the doorstep of bowl eligibility,
right.
So I think that's significant.
And let's take a look at that remaining schedule for Mississippi State, because they are 5-4, have a bye next week. Vanderbilt also won on this Saturday against Miami of Ohio out of conference, but they're one game away from a bowl as well. Mississippi State has Alabama at home, at Arkansas, and then the Egg Bowl, which is in Starkville. Vanderbilt, tough game at Florida. Kentucky and Wake Forest both home at Tennessee. The Bulldogs haven't been to a bowl game since the Independence Bowl in your hometown in 2000.
Beautiful downtown Shreveport.
Petro
Sun Independence Bowl.
But Vanderbilt hasn't been to one since 1982.
That was the Snow Bowl, by the way.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Do both those teams get to a bowl?
I think Mississippi State has a chance to do it. The only thing I look at that schedule there, that bye needs to be someplace else, because they're not going to beat Alabama either way. I think they can get the Egg Bowl. I think they can get them at their place.
And Arkansas.
I don't know if you're going to get Arkansas at Arkansas. Vietnam, I don't know if you're going to do that.
What's going on with Houston? Drama.
Yeah, that's true. That's still a tough place to play.
Well,
and I think they will win the Egg Bowl, though.
Let me tell you something. I think both teams can make it. And I think the big job coming up now for Mike Slive and Mark Womack, his associate there, and Charles Bloom, you better start dialing some people up. Got a spot open for one of our teams, because I believe they have 9 bowl games set for SEC teams. There could be 11 SEC teams eligible for bowl games. I mean, 11.
With the one that not being would be Ole Miss.
I mean, that's. I mean, so many people get on our case about being a pro SEC because that's what we cover on CBS, folks.
Hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is, and the bottom line is the only conference that even smells as good as the SEC right now is the Pac-10. Yeah. And what you're seeing happening in the Pac-10 now with some of those people like Cal getting knocked off, USC getting knocked off, those lower division teams are beginning to play like the lower division teams in the SEC. People don't want to hear it, but you measure the strength of a conference from the bottom up. I know the drive-by media just wants to talk about the teams that are in the BCS or in the top 25. You measure the strength from the bottom half of the division up.
I don't disagree.
And we'll get into that Pac-10 game between Oregon and USC in a sec. But you mentioned Alabama, and you don't think that Mississippi State can go in there next week. The storyline of the weekend next weekend may be LSU and Alabama against Nick Saban.
You think?
You know what? Let's just real quickly here, because everyone else is going to do it.
Never too early.
Never too early.
Yeah.
Here you see the comparison here of what they've been doing offensively this year. LSU necessarily sometimes hasn't been pretty. Alabama at times hasn't been pretty. But this is going to be a game that's going to be won on defense.
But yeah, defense is going to win it. You know what you're going to get with Saban, 4-3 weak, coming off the weak side, screaming NFL Deluxe. And you're going to get a more conservative style with Les Miles. Yeah. But you know what? I think this game is going to be like a 21-17 type game. Maybe not the terribly low-scoring game that most people probably think it will be. But I think that the LSU really needs to be careful, because I think when you get a young team with incentive and a coach with a track record and a history of having been there before, they can beat you, man.
But let me just say this to you. In my history of following college football nationally, but it's been 20-plus years, I've never seen a coach with a better record that has more on the line for one game than Les Miles does in this game against Saban, because he was just a caretaker of Saban's boys.
That's right.
Even coming into this year. Oh, but he put a stamp. It's his own program now after what happened with Florida. Then he loses at Kentucky in triple overtime. People are going nuts. Then he wins a game with 1 second left. People are crucifying him because he had a timeout in his hip pocket. How dare he throw the ball into the end zone? He should have set up for a field goal. I mean, they are so ready to pounce on him in Baton Rouge. And I'm telling you, it's unfair, but that's the way it is. And that's why Miles has to win this game next week.
There are still some people out there who will put an asterisk beside this win should Les get the win because he's beaten them with Nick Saban's players.
And that's why, regardless of what happens to LSU this year, if Lloyd Carr rides off into the sunset, I don't think $1.5 million is going to stop Les Miles from heading to Michigan.
And that's a story that obviously will follow. Real quickly, let's get through Stock Up, Stock Down. We'll get a preview of LSU, Alabama throughout the week, of course, on CBSSports.com. Real quickly, Stock Up, West Virginia. Back in the national championship race with a pouncing on Rutgers. Oregon, huge victory.
I love Oregon right now.
BC with Matt Ryan, he put himself right in the Heisman. And Wake Forest, don't look now, but they are 4-1 in the ACC. If Boston College slips up, that is a team that could win that part of the division. Quickly, let's go to the stock down here with the other teams that played poorly. Texas Tech. They are just falling apart.
Last 2 weeks.
Kentucky with the loss. They didn't come out strong today. Texas, I know.
That was a dishonorable W.
Yeah, they won, but it wasn't pretty. In South Florida, they are, with the loss at Rutgers, they did not show up very well at Connecticut, which, by the way, could be on Stock Up. Because they are 7-1 right now in the Big East. All right, real quickly, wrap up this weekend.
Oh, well, all I saw was, once again, the parity of the SEC. And the fact that you could have a 3-loss team, potentially a 3-loss team representing the East on the other side of whoever wins the West, whether it's Alabama, it's just parity, and it's running everywhere. It's like Spencer said, the college football world is flat. We no longer want to hear Kentucky didn't have any gas in their tank. We don't want to hear that South Florida can't roll on the road in bad weather. UConn's better than your mama's UConn. Okay, you just have to come to grips with that. That's the way it is.
Well, I think that the Pac-10, Oregon right now, to me, is hot right now. Yes. They're hotter than a depot stove. And I think USC, meantime, is not very hot right now. So I think the Pac-10.
Out those,
hey, man, listen, I got taken the task because I thought, I said that USC was one of those teams this year that underachieved. And that was before they lost today. Yeah. And, when they came in with 7 parade All-Americans, they're supposed to do better than they. I know they've had quarterback problems and issues like that, but they're better than that.
You want some more Oklahoma colloquialisms?
Like
He's got them.
I know he does.
He's got them.
Do you know what a depot stove is?
No, I'm going to go up here, but I have to find out what it is. Folks, for more on this or Game of the Week, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com. For Spencer Tillman and Tim Brando, I'm Jason Horowitz. That's a quick wrap-up, by the way. Take care.